Today I'm going to talk to you about vaccinations. What exactly are vaccinations for? So if your body gets in contact with a new disease it never had before, it has to react a certain way to defeat that disease. If you have a vaccination before you encounter that disease, you already have those anti-mechanisms in your body. So with that, you can react against the disease appropriately and avoid serious consequences that some diseases may bring. Can you still be ill after you have been vaccinated? Well, every vaccination can have a certain consequence like redness or tenderness, but that nearly never is dangerous and all very tolerable in when you relate it to the disease that you are vaccinating for. Can you get ill because of the vaccination? Well, in the early days of vaccination, it was possible because you really gave that person a disease. So if you're really susceptible to a certain disease, you can still be very ill from the vaccination. Nowadays, we give so little of it, or very safe amounts, or even not the disease, but just some part that triggers your body to make your anti-mechanisms work, so you won't get ill from a vaccination. There are on one hand basic vaccinations that every child gets when it's born and when it grows up, and there are vaccinations especially for travelers. So that depends on where you will go and how you will be traveling there. So the basic vaccinations include tetanus, polio, diphtheria, pertussis, measles, mumps, rubella, hepatitis B, and HPV. If you go travel, you have to ask yourself and your doctor some questions. Are you going to a country where it is important that you get in vaccination for the yellow fever? You're obligated to get that vaccination before you travel to certain countries. Are there risks of getting malaria? Because then you have to do two things. One, you might have to take prophylaxis pills, which means that every day or every week you will have to take a pill while you're on your journey. And you will have to be careful about mosquitoes. You will have to wear long clothing in the areas where there are a lot of mosquitoes, especially when the sun goes down. When water stands still, that's exactly the places where you can find a lot of mosquitoes. You will have to smear mosquito repellent on your body, and even when you sleep, you may have to sleep under a net which may be impregnated with a anti-mosquito repellent. All things you have to consider if you're gonna go traveling. Secondly, you have to think about your basic vaccinations. Are you okay with that? Because you might fall, you might hurt yourself. Is your tetanus okay? These things are very important because you go to a country where maybe people are not vaccinated the way we are. Or you can be more susceptible for a disease if you get in contact with the disease, if you're not vaccinated properly. So you really have to go through that with your doctor. Be careful with sexual contact because you always have to think about STDs, but also hepatitis, which gets transferred by blood contact or sexual contact. Be really careful about that. For some areas, you have certain vaccinations like rabies, which you get if you get bitten by a dog or by a rodent. Some kinds of encephalitis, you can get vaccinations if you go camping in, for example, rural places in China or Japan. You can get a certain vaccination for it. You have to be careful about tick bites. Tuberculosis. There are still countries where there are a lot of tuberculosis. You can get tested before you go and when you come back, so you can get treated. There are some risks that you cannot vaccinate for. For example, dengue is some kind of fever that you can get, but you don't have any vaccination, but you don't really have a good treatment for it. So you have to be informed about it before you go travel. So you really should go see a doctor well on beforehand, because some vaccinations have to be repeated before you go to travel. So please be careful about that. Also, you should take your travel pharmacy with you, which I will address in another video. Some people have to be vaccinated for the flu. You have to take your responsibility and get vaccinated for the flu, not only for yourself but also for your patients. You can transfer it to your children or whatever. You don't want that. Flu can be dangerous. You can die from flu. People forget that, but like Spanish flu or Mexican flu, you really are really dangerous. So why not vaccinate, especially if you're one of those risk groups? Well, yes. For example, the flu. There are different kinds of flus, and every year that flu varies. So you get vaccinated for the most common flu of the moment, but you still can get a more specific flu that not everyone gets, but you can still be sick from that one. And even if you are vaccinated against the main one. Thanks for watching. I really hope I answered a lot of questions. If you have other questions, you can always ask them in the comments below. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up. And if you're interested in more of these travel themed videos, please subscribe to my channel, ImagineMedicine. Bye! Especially people like who do a lot of health care, like nurses or doctors, even teachers. They can or people who work with the seniors,